Healthy Scratch Red Wings Report, presented by 5v5hockey.com.
Yo, welcome back to the Healthy Scratch Red Wings Report. So we've had a few videos today, free agency, full swing today. The Red Wings definitely started slow. I think we can all agree with that. Had some good conversations, the Justin Hall video, and also with the James Reimer video. Now, most of the time, opinions are often either not true or they're not complete. And for me, maybe that's a little bit of it. Because Justin Hall, looking at his advanced stats, it calmed me down a little bit. He's a very good defensive defenseman. Listening to some Leaf talk out there, he's prone to making big mistakes. I remember chirping him a little bit in the first round a few years ago. Tampa Bay was playing Toronto. And I remember John Tavares scored like an overtime goal or something, and it was disallowed because Justin Hall threw a pick on Steven Stamkos. And it was a clear penalty. And I remember being like, what an idiot. But it just, things like that happen. And I'm definitely not walking back what I said. At the time, that's what I meant. I was pretty heated. It's one of these things now where we're starting to kind of see a little more of a clearer picture with some of the moves that the Red Wings have made since. Now, one of them, if you remember, a really, really wise man once said, I think JT Compher would be a good fit for the Red Wings. I really like JT Compher, okay? JT Compher is a guy that we've talked about. He's got very good advanced statistics. I signed him for a 4-year deal, $5 million. He can play on that second line center position. I think he thrived with obviously Gabe Landeskog being out for the Avalanche. I don't know if it's something where the Avalanche can't afford him at $5 million. Maybe they can't. But I think he fits the mold of what the Red Wings are looking for. I like him as a player. Now, that's something that I kind of predicted. I don't know if I really thought that would happen. With JT Compher, he got a 5-year deal, $5.1 million per season. That's steep, for an unrestricted free agent. But as you're seeing, a lot of these free agents are really getting overpaid, and that's what happens when everyone's unrestricted. It's just bedlam, and that's how it goes. So if it's the going rate for JT Compher, then fine. He had a very good season with the Avalanche last year. I think he had 52 points, career high, and he was thrust into this kind of second-line center role with Landeskog being out and a lot of the injuries that the Avalanche had, and he did really, really well with them. Now, he's a guy that is more of a defensive forward, and that's fine. We've always talked about, Yzerman looking for these two-way type players, especially up front, be tough to play against, and I think he's one of those guys. Again, he's not going to rock the boat. Going to be a good locker room guy. He is local, and I actually really like that JT Compher's here. I think what we need to realize, and some people are really comparing him to Andrew Kopp. Now, it feels similar because of the kind of the roots here, and being on a national development team and Michigan. I wouldn't compare the two, is all I'm saying. What I want is for people to think about it in this way. I think JT Compher is going to be what we thought Andrew Kopp would be last year. And I think that's someone that can actually put the puck in the net and be a little offensive, but also be very, capable defensively. Another thing to think of is that he's a right-hand shot centerman. If that's something they were looking for, they found it with JT Compher. He's pretty good on faceoffs too. Now, another move that the Red Wings made, and they just keep coming in. It's starting to a little bit feel like last year. Shayne Gostisbehere. That's another guy that I thought maybe the Red Wings could target. A UFA that we could sign is Shayne Gostisbehere. Now, he had a very, very good season. 84th percentile wins above replacement. He's 30 years old. He plays both sides, but he does play right-sided. Very good, even strength offense. Defensively, not so much, so you're going to want to pair him with like an Oli Mata, maybe. Power play, very, very good on the power play. 41 points last year as a defenseman. Played really, really well. And he's an offensive guy. He's someone that can run a power play. He's going to chip in on 5-on-5. He's not the most defensive defenseman of all time, but we do have a few of those, so I think we're getting into a good mix. Now, he is a left-hand shot D, but he can play the right side. So it's something where I'd rather do that with Gostisbehere than Ben Sherratt. But we're at a point now where I'm wondering, okay, what is next? And I know people are going, what do you mean, what is next? They've signed so many players now that I feel like there's a little bit of a logjam. When Simon Edvinsson is healthy and ready to go, where is he going to slot in? What about looking up at the forwards? There's a rumor right now that Christian Fischer is also signing with the Red Wings from the Coyotes. I haven't even really looked at Christian Fischer's stats, but that's another body up front that has to fit. And we're going to have some guys that are going to get displaced that probably deserve to be on the NHL roster. So I'm really wondering, is there a trade coming, or is this how we're doing this? It's just whoever's going to make the team makes the team and everyone else is scratched, or we're going to sign a lot of guys because maybe there's going to be injuries. It's kind of getting nuts out there. Like, just seeing all the Red Wings things that are happening. Steve Yzerman didn't have a press conference. That was a pretty good indicator that something was going to happen. You add a guy like Klim Kostin. We just got James Reimer as the backup. We have Alex Lyon possibly as the backup. Who knows? That's going to be a competition. JT Compher, Justin Hall on the back end, Shayne Gostisbehere on the back end, potentially Christian Fischer now too. Lots of players. Obviously, we didn't really have that many, leaving. I mean, Pius Suter is as good as gone now. He's not coming back. Adam Ernie, see you later. We haven't really seen a lot of ex-Red Wings sign a contract, which is also interesting, except for Alex Nedeljkovic went to the Penguins. It's starting to come together a little bit. Just looking at the day as a whole, it didn't start out really well, in my opinion. Just maybe our expectations were so high. Obviously, doing like the armchair GMs and looking at some of that stuff, it does heighten it for you. And it's cool to get excited about this stuff. Don't get me wrong. But I was the one that cautioned against, like, hey, the DeBrincat thing would be nice, but Travis Konechny could be nice, but, and maybe with some of these players, that we were maybe looking to get, or maybe not even on the radar, because a lot of these players, to be honest with you, like Justin Hall wouldn't have been on my radar. Reimer, no shot. Klim Kostin, I have no idea that they would have traded and signed him. Like JT Compher and Gostisbehere, I mean, yeah, I'll take a little credit for sure to be like, yeah, I kind of identified those two maybe as fits. Now we're seeing some lines where you can move guys all over the place, and I think it's going to be open season. Now, are all these guys home runs? No. And actually, you know what? I didn't even mention Daniel Sprong. Haven't even mentioned him. And he might be the most underrated signing that the Red Wings have made today. $2 million for a year. He had 21 goals last year with Seattle, playing like bottom 6 minutes. So that's a very good signing by Steve Yzerman. So we take the good with the bad. I mean, I still really don't like the Justin Hall contract, but I mean, because it's a bottom pair guy, but yes, he is a right-hand defenseman. So when you look at the lineup, Wallman with Sider, you still got Oli Mata, Ben Sherratt, Justin Hall, Shayne Gostisbehere, Simon Edvinsson. That's 7 right there. Gustav Lindstrom signed. There's your 8 defensemen. In net, you got 3 guys, so I think we're good there. And then up front, there's a logjam. Now, the line's up there, and I'm just doing this off the top of my head, so if I don't get everybody, we'll see. But, basically got, Larkin with Raymond, maybe Perron. Now you got JT Compher in the middle, maybe Andrew Kopp, Robbie Fabry, Dominic Kubalik, Veleno, Zadina, Berggren, Christian Fischer, Daniel Sprong. And I'm saying Christian Fischer like this is going to happen. I saw a few tweets about it. And I probably missed a few guys, honestly. Rasmussen, and some of the younger guys. So what's going to give, Are we still making a trade here? Like, are some of these guys on the way out? Do we know that maybe a guy like Veleno or Zadina, or hopefully not, but maybe Berggren, like, does the DeBrincat thing still happen? There's rumors right now that DeBrincat's agent is now finally being like, yeah, you can negotiate with other teams, because the term and the money, people weren't giving up what DeBrincat wanted. So now it's kind of like, all right, like, you got to go back to the table and like work with some of these teams. You're not just going to get an 8x8 deal and that's it. It's still possible. The Red Wings obviously have the cap space for it. And I really hope Steve Yzerman makes me eat my words with some of this stuff. I mean, I know I walked back a little bit of it, but obviously getting more information, seeing some of these signings that have come in, recently since the last few videos, I like them a little bit better. I know people are split on JT Compher. I really do think we're going to love him in Hockeytown. And I hope he doesn't become another Andrew Kopp. I hope he becomes what we thought Andrew Kopp would be. And hopefully Andrew Kopp bounces back, and has a season like we thought he would be. And maybe, just being totally healthy and, being in Detroit for a year, wakes him up a little bit. And also, I forgot Robbie Fabry, too. I mean, that's another guy that, was hurt, and now he's going to be, someone who potentially could be a 20-goal scorer. So, listen, there were some moves that I didn't like that the Red Wings made. There were some moves that I liked. Pretty polarizing day, to be honest with you, but this is day 1 of free agency. Things can happen in the offseason. So if anything else happens, keep it tuned to the Red Wings Report, and we'll see you in the next one. Hopefully we have some good news to tell you.